Hello, and welcome back to another gameplay commentary video. Today we're going to be covering GP Luffy versus Blackbeard. In general, as we know, GP Luffy is quite favored into Blackbeard. It's one of its easier matchups. Uh, but this is a very interesting game, and I thought it was a good one to commentate over because we're going to see what sort of happens when GP Luffy doesn't really see all of their pieces, and you can see how it can create still quite a difficult matchup. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to be playing this video in 2 times speed because it's a bit long. GP rolling a 7 and Blackbeard rolling a 3. Um, I decided to take second after winning the dice roll, but since testing the matchup in the coming days after this match, I think I take back that decision. I think you generally want to go first in this matchup. So I won the dice roll and just made it a bit harder on myself. Let's just say that. So Blackbeard opting to keep their hand. We choose to mulligan. Oh, kind of giving them a sneak peek at to what's to come. Uh, Luffy Taro is not the best card in the matchup just because they're probably going to turn off your on plays if they see you going up to 7 Dawn. Um, and really we're looking obviously for that key piece Sanji Pudding. We also really need the stage here. If we're able to call out Sanji Pudding without stage, it still can be quite the uphill battle. So starting off with Lafitte from the Blackbeard side, can't really punish them. Zoro is a 4 cost drop, so we start with the event search, getting the stage perfect. Great hit off the start. All we need right now is the Sanji Pudding, playing the stage out, drawing, and passing it over to Blackbeard. Blackbeard here has a good chance to get all of the pieces they need. In general, their game plan is to try and um, find their 6 cost lib. It's really strong in this matchup. If you're able to call out 2, 3 bodies while they still have maybe one on board, they just use 6 cost lib, clear out your entire board, and you sort of have to start from the get go. You really, from the GP side, you really need to be careful of that card, constantly monitoring and being only one character card over them. So they're gonna go and play out the dock queue, setting up for if they have a auger coming out next. So we go into the fort Dawn play, swing into Lafitte, and it looks like we only play one Dawn for a searcher. Maybe still looking for some key pieces here. We get another stage. Not really needed, but I'm assuming we didn't find what we're looking for. And spoiler alert, we're looking for Sanji Pudding. I remember in this game, we struggled to find Sanji Pudding, despite digging very deep within our deck. So another stage, and then we play out Nami as well. Still don't find that Sanji Pudding. We grab the Luffy Taro, and we pass it back over to the Blackbeard player. There could be also merit in not wanting to call the 4 cost Zorojuro, just because if on their turn now they play a auger, they can just easily clear it. But I'm not even entirely sure if we had it in hand at this point. So they do indeed find that auger. And maybe with 4 Dawn here, they can call out a Burgess. We have no bodies on board for them to sort of want to address. And actually, they call out the Laboon. So this isn't a card that's commonly played. I've seen some Blackbeard lists start to play it, mess around with it. I think it can help in this matchup, and actually, we're probably going to see it do some work here. We finally get to our 6th Dawn turn, and we unfortunately do not have Sanji Pudding. So here's the part where it gets a little bit tougher because we need to sort of navigate what do we do if we don't have Sanji Pudding here. Here I'm sort of just highlighting that I've taken 2 life, I searched with Nami, double stage, double event search, and we still don't see it. Um, it can really make this matchup start to be a little bit harder. So now we really need to think what is our best play. Maybe if we have the 4-cost Zoro here, it's really strong because I don't believe they turned off on plays, which maybe they should have done. Um, but I don't run the 4-cost Zoro. I started to run it now because I do see the value in it. So my current list will have it. So we just kill the dock queue, give them that card draw. We have 6 Dawn. Yeah, and we just play out the 6-cost Luffy. And we opt to actually leader effect here. And the reason I think I opted to leader effect here, despite not having a Sanji pudding and really hemorrhaging 2 Dawn, is just so that I can activate the stage. Because they do have Laboon on board. And actually, we had another stage in hand, so I'm putting that Luffy up to 10, hoping that it can stick. And if it sticks, maybe next turn we can play another body and start to apply that pressure that we've been sort of been behind on so far. So let's see how Blackbeard responds to this threat. They do have Laboon, which is a free access to -4. But the Luffy would still be at 6, and they actually stronger here, indicating that they do want to remove it. So it goes down to an 8, -4 goes down to 4, and they Shigan Finger Pistol, milling 2 cards from their deck. We do see a 2K also milled, and they had to use a stronger in order to get the threshold down to 5 cost or lower. This is really good to keep mind of, when you're on the other side of Blackbeard, because they run a very limited set of 2Ks. So it's good to always keep track of how many they've used. It makes your lethal mapping that much easier. They swing 7 at the end. We just give them a 2K since we're 6K base, and we go off to our turn. We still don't have that Sanji pudding. We are now at back to 6 Dawn because we leader affected. So we can't play Luffy Taro. They know that we do have one, and I assume they opted not to remove on plays this turn because the only on play they really care about removing is Luffy Taro. And as long as we didn't hit that 7 Dawn threshold, um, they don't need to remove the on play. So we're just gonna go 8 into the Laboon. Clear it, play 3 for the Frankie to ramp up Dawn. Now without the Sanji pudding, we need to get some of that Dawn we lost back so that we can have more Dawn available into the late game to apply some pressure. So very weak start from the GP side, despite having access to a lot of search. And yeah, like I mentioned earlier on in the video, despite this matchup being very favored for GP, if you don't see your pieces, it can start to turn ugly. The bright side behind all of this is at least that we're out of 6 cost liberation range, which isn't, I guess, a great positive to have. But so they do actually, speaking of, they do actually pitch 6 cost liberation here for stage, grabbing a 2K. I guess realizing that we don't really have that explosive power, playing our cards on curve, poking us for 6 lead, leaving, I believe that's 8 Dawn behind. We might actually opt to take this just to search for a card. It's not too late to find that Sanji pudding. No, we do have to respect that swing, and this is why. 8 Dawn left, double Burgess comes down. They have quite a few cards in their trash, so there's suddenly 2 big bodies, and this sort of makes sense why they tossed the 6 cost liberation, because at this point they've sort of like given up on that game plan. They're gonna spam their board with 2 massive bodies and try and just finish the game out as soon as possible. Our goal here is to just try and recover this, maybe apply as much pressure as we can, filling the board with as many big bodies as possible. There's the first one, Luffy Taro. They did pitch for on plays, so unfortunately we can't play anything off the Luffy Taro. And I promise I'm not just playing that card for style points. We still do not have access to the Sanji pudding. I believe the first Sanji pudding that I found in this game was my last life. Uh, Sorry for the spoilers, but it's gonna be that far in case you guys are wondering why we're opting not to play that. So swinging 4 with Frankie. Okay, so first, before we ramp up with Frankie, we notice that we're at 7 Dawn. They're at 9. So before we swing and ramp, we can make use of the fact that we're 2 less Dawn than our opponent, playing out the Sanji for 3. And like I said, our game plan right now is just giving up on Sanji Pudding, playing as these big bodies, as many of them as we can, and trying to contest the board. Frankie will also act as a pseudo blocker because now his effect isn't on play but when attacking, and the Blackbeard will not want me to ramp my Dawn back up, especially since I don't have Sanji Pudding. And if I want to keep using my leader effect, they're gonna force me to go -2 Dawn. So there goes a 5k swing into Frankie. I'd opt to just let this go because I don't want to waste counter. There's two Burgess swings coming in right after. He's at 10 Dawn. They could opt to play Teach here. They're still at 3 life, very comfortable. And I can tell you at this point in the game, it's not looking too hot for GP Luffy. We have one Dawn up just to protect ourselves from one of these Burgess swings. And yes, they do indeed play the 10 cost Teach. And I think this is a bit of a mistake. I'm just gonna pause the video for a second here just to highlight this. Since GP Luffy runs Electric Luna, and the teach effect negating leader does not actually remove the plus 1k because it's a continuous effect, so it was applied already. And so there's no point to play this first without swinging. And this might incentivize me to actually take the life, and if it is an Electric Luna, I might actually rest the Teach. And if I have access to 6 cost Luffy, maybe try and just push. And that could be like a good strat for a game. Although still a bit risky since he's at 3 life. I could also opt to hold the Luna to just keep both of these frozen. So I think here, yeah, I will just go for the life. Unfortunately, not getting the Luna. Or maybe I did get an opt just not to trigger it, like I said. Anticipating the second Burgess swing coming in, holding out that aggression for one more turn, and maybe being able to play the bodies to take game the turn after. So Blackbeard player pitching for on plays and actually chooses to pass. I like this play a lot because if I was to play Luna here, he would be punished very hard by just having that swing in with Burgess, which I could probably just Gum Gum Giant, cycle in deeper into the deck, and then just freeze those two attackers, leaving him with the choice that if he wants to swing, he has to swing with Teach. We still don't have on play, so we're just playing out another big body. Not really fearing 6 cost liberation. Not that Luffy Taro's in range of that, anyways. Um, we leader effect, starting with a 6k swing. Everything is out of Shigan range. They take. Maybe it's worth blocking this because you might incentivize me to sort of swing with the Sanji blocker, which I don't really want to do. And now by just taking this, I don't have to swing with Sanji because once I swing with Sanji, I know you're just gonna block it. And yes, we do play 3 for the Luna, so very good discipline by the Blackbeard player not to swing with the other Burgess, to come in with waves of attacks this turn. But I guess freezing one Burgess is just good enough for now. So immediately searching with stage, grabbing another teach. I think slapping down a second teach this turn hurts a lot. It's two big blockers. One of my bodies being stunned, and still no Sanji pudding. I think if we found that Sanji pudding, the game would be a lot more manageable. But I think with Luffy Taro just being able to stick, the Sanji blocker being able to stick, we sort of have a fighting chance here still. We have 2 Dawn up for Gum Gum, so we're pretty defensive. We still have 1 life, and there comes the 10 cost Teach. Choosing to stun. The question is, does he stun the blocker here? It's a lower attack range. No, I think that is correct. You don't want 8Ks just swinging. Although you do have the 2 blockers, and swinging 9k lead. This is a free Gum Gum, and I think we'll opt to do it. There's a third Luffy Taro, so I guess we drew all 3 of those, and this could be a good reason for us to just dig into the deck. Maybe we still don't have access to 6 cost Luffy, so really not seeing. We saw one of them early, but not seeing a lot of the pieces we want to. And I think they opt to just pass right now, leaving both 10 cost Teach standing. All right. So we're at 8 Dawn. Also, still important to keep in mind that we're still at the 2 Dawn less than opponent threshold. So we can still make use of calling Sanji out for 3 Dawn, which is such a powerful play. It is a 2k, but sometimes you have to be very comfortable with just playing that 2k out. It's a very strong, offensive and defensive option. For now, we haven't used it offensively yet, but it could come in handy if we go to push for game. Blackbeard is still at 2 life, so I don't know if we can push for game just yet. They are running out of resources though, having to pitch for on plays every turn. So we play out the Zorojuro just as a body, since we don't have on plays as well. And we have 4 Dawn to play with still. If we leader effect, we'll have access to 6 Dawn, but again, hemorrhaging our total Dawn because we have no way to ramp them back up. It's a good thing we played the Frankie, and we did have on plays at that time. So 8, this seems like a free block. I think just don't entertain anything here. Don't go too low. Yeah, you still have another one standing. And if I leader effect, like I said, we go up to 6. So Luffy, that rush Luffy can only swing once. There's no reason not to block that swing. So with that information, let's see what we decide to do here. We do go for leader effect, going to a total of 6 Dawn and making our leader a 6k. Swinging 6 now. I think you take or counter this probably. Although we still only have the Sanji, you could block it. I would maybe opt to block that. But they do give us the 2k. Because like I said, if they block it, I might be incentivized to swing with Sanji. And you have 4 huge bodies on board. Um, and I don't want to swing with the Sanji. So I think instead of giving up that 2k, maybe block that. You're in no risk of dying. So we play out again, like we mentioned earlier, the 3 cost Sanji, or 6 cost, but played it out for 3. And we have 3 Dawn up. Maybe 3 Gum Gum Giants, who knows? But we do have 2 blockers just in case. So they use My Era Begins, indicating that there's no 10 cost Teach coming out this turn. The game is probably over either this turn, the next, or the one after that. Um, I think the Blackbeard player, if they don't go for game here, they need to grab counter because we're probably ready to go in with full swings next turn. But they opt to actually take the 10 cost Teach. I'm a bit surprised by this play because it is a brick, uh, and it's a brick that the opponent knows you have. So it kind of makes the math a little bit easier. But they might also just be going for a game. But they're gonna search first. Let's see what they grab. Maybe if they can grab like a Vasco shot, a Kuzan to play out. I'm not sure if they play Katarina Devon, but maybe getting a third blocker out might make it very hard for me to push for game next turn. They end up grabbing a Burgess. Maybe it's just the best option they had. Maybe it's just the 1k counter. Being left with 7 Dawn, so just confirming all of the cost amounts. Um, and yeah, the Sanjis were being played out for 3, so it's very oppressive for Blackbeard. This is a very pivotal turn. Um, they either need to test the hand a little bit here, uh, test the counter, or just push all in for game. They end up going 8 at face, leaving them with 4 Dawn. And we know each Burgess is 9k. We need to think here, do we want to take this and consider what happens if they end up swinging with the teachers? The good thing is here, since they only have 4 Dawn left, maybe a play could be to black hole one of the Sanjis to push in, depending on what I do. But right now I have 2 blockers, and I'm leaving those blockers up. So in case they want to swing with Teach, I have a blocker per Teach, and I don't mind giving up a character for that blocker because it's sort of 1-to-1. They lose a blocker, I lose a character or a swing next turn, so that's fine. So they go in with the first 10. I think this needs to be Gum Gum. I don't want a Gum Gum because I don't want to hemorrhage more Dawn. And there's the first Sanji pudding we've seen all game, and like I said, I'm pretty sure that was grabbed off the last life. So we pitch that Sanji pudding and then a 1k, and they go in with another 10. We're at a total of 4 Dawn here. We really don't want to Gum Gum Giant, but at the same time, I want the Sanji characters to swing for game next turn, even though we're going down to 2 Dawn and next turn up to 4. So we give the Gum Gum and an Usopp for 1k. They play 4 for a Burgess. And we're at total 4 Dawn here. It's kind of a make or break. We can't even play the 6 cost Luffy if we wanted to, but we have a very menacing board, and they have only 2 blockers up, and I believe 3 in hand, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see it when they fan out their hand. Um, I do make a big sequencing misplay here, and I think here you need to just swing 6 to test for 2Ks with Zoro Juro first. Not only testing 2Ks, but also it's a 4 cost. I mean, we could stage it so it doesn't die to Shigan, which we'll probably do. But in any case, we should swing with Zoro Juro first, because our leader can always leader effect, pulling away Dawn from attached characters with our swings, and then it gets the 6K. So this is a big mistake here. I should have just swung, not attached any Dawn, and swung with Zoro. They do give us the 2K, which is not great. They have 1 in hand actually, and we know what it is. It's a teach. So this 6 is connecting for sure or getting blocked. It's in their best interest to just take the life here, keeping up their blockers. Maybe they can get some sort of a counter uh, in life. 3 Dawn left and still 4 more swings. We know that all of them sort of, 2 of them are going to get blocked, and he has 1 life. 7 should connect because we know he has a teach in hand. So this should be a guaranteed connector block. He grabs it, and it looks like a 6 cost liberation, but that won't stop any attackers because we're not playing any rush. And we go 7, hoping he doesn't have the 2-1, and he indeed doesn't. He did get a 2K from life, I guess the second last life. But then this 7 will get blocked, 8 will get blocked, and the 8 will eventually go through. Very, very close game, but it really goes to show that uh, GP Luffy is just so favored in this matchup. And despite not seeing a single Sanji pudding, which is quite the anomaly to be honest, it's still doable. But we sort of need to call out our counters, our 2K count, or 2K counters. Our Luffy Taros came in clutch, just as big bodies that they can't easily remove, and just try to push for game. I do think though, seeing their final hand, if on that turn they grab the 10 cost each, if they grab the 1K, they can actually 2-1 out of the 7, and they actually have game. So yeah, grabbing that teach off that second last search last turn seems to be a very big misplay. Also calling out the Burgess, because that's another way that they can keep the 1K in hand. So I'm not really sure why they decided to do those. Maybe just flustered from the situation. Um, yeah, but it's a good thing we didn't block with any of our characters, because we needed exactly this amount of characters to go in for game. Um, it would have been different if we had the 6 cost Luffy in hand too, because then we wouldn't need to gum gum a second time, and we can use the 6 cost Luffy as another attack. So that's another option. But I forgot what was in my final hand at this point in the game. All right, thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.